We continue our story with Grimlock beating down every one of the 5 dragons that pretty much came at him, while Saturang looks on in absolute disbelief. Grimlock's not only handling this very well, he's holding back. He's not going to harm these dragons, but again, the very thought about him killing one of the dragons still lingers. But again, he dodges the poison, dodges the electricity, dodges death. Alright? Dodges fire, lightning, ice. He dodges it all. He even manages to take a combined blast from them. But again, he keeps pushing through, along with Swoop encouraging him to keep going. Keep going. You almost got it. You can do this. To remember all the things he's been through. Fighting in the pits of Chaos, fighting alongside them against the Combaticons, Constructicons, and even losing them. This not only spurs Grimlock on, but ignites his rage like never before. Meanwhile, back in the prison district, Tarn is actually quite overwhelming. With his telepathy and telekinesis, he proves to be a very formidable threat against not only some of the X-Men prisoners who are basically weakened and, kind of hard to, I guess you could say, hard fight, pretty easy for him to fight, I should say, because again, they've been injured and not really taken care of in the best conditions. However, as Tarn begins to gloat here, this is where Rogue actually comes in and actually manages to rock his shit in. All right, just straight up hits him with the meanest haymaker possible. This allows Nightcrawler to grab a pipe, teleports it, and stabs him right in the back with it as hard as he can. Then this allows Magneto to position his helmet over Tarn, telling him that apparently we've had to clean you up for a while. Now it's time to take out the trash. And pretty much, kills Tarn like he did in the comics. Absolutely breathtaking. And this is where we actually see Iron Man and Magic progress further down into the cell, where Iron Man simply states, "Finally, we got it. We're here. Let's hope they're alive still because, this is going to be all for nothing." Meanwhile, back in the arena, Grimlock has just successfully defeated every dragon and is now staring down Saturang, the Sorcerer Supreme, to which Grimlock says, "That all you got? That all you got? Standing there and hiding behind your own troops? That's no real warrior. That's no real commander. You should have been out there in the skirmish with them. But now, just you and me. 1-on-1. Magic against pure might. Let's go." To which Saturang roars and says this will be his most satisfying kill to date. And this is where Saturang does everything he can. Him using every spell he could conjure. Soul manipulation. No, doesn't work. Astral manipulation? Doesn't work either. Grimlock uses his very own spark and with Swoop as well to actually help him fight it off. The Crimson Bands of Sidorak, it takes Hulk levels of strength just to break, and Grimlock breaks that with ease. The Bolts of Voltrak, Grimlock utilizes his shield to block the energy and then follows up with a slash, cutting Saturang right across his face. He's got nothing. Saturang even tries to fight physically, but he can't do anything. Grimlock overwhelms him with his skill, his ferocity, his intensity. Every move, every strike is precise, not missing a single one. Every sword slash draws blood. Every shield bash breaks bones. Saturang is now in a fearful state, as he can't do anything. And Fang Foom looks on in absolute disgust, almost disdain even. He never thought his own general, his Sorcerer Supreme, had nothing for him, had nothing to do against such might. And it does kind of excite him to maybe even add Grimlock as one of his most loyal soldiers, if not a valuable second in command, to which he does kind of think about it for a minute. But again, Saturang himself, he can't do anything. And he's lying on the ground, crawling away in his dragon form, begging Grimlock, "Please, don't do this." To which Grimlock is like, I said I was going to kill one dragon today. One of the worst dragons I've seen. I can read your levels of magic, It's no different than energy. You're dark, clouded, similar to Dark Energon that Megatron took. Who? Don't worry about it, because you'll be seeing him, or he'll be seeing you, in the afterlife very soon. And this is where Saturn tries to call away, like, no, 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 no. And Grimlock rams into him, causing him to topple over as he tries to get up, telling him what? Begging? How many people have you killed? How many of these gladiators have you sentenced to death? How many mutants have you sentenced to death? To which Saturn is like, tons, thousands. But that's different. You sentenced people to death. Heroes even. To which Saturn is like, what does it matter? You'll join them soon. And then he tries to breathe fire. However, Grimlock actually tanks this, grabs him by his mouth, and then swings him around as if he was weightless, and then slams him right back into the arena, and simply states, you think this is funny? You think being cruel is something so simple? It's funny though. It's kind of like looking at myself in a way. To which Saturn, now in his human form from the amount of damage he took, states, what? To which Grimlock simply refers, he's ruthless, but he's not unkind. You see, there is always going to be a difference between him and these people, or your kind, if you will. And I mean villains. To which Saturn, before he can even get anything off, Grimlock leaps into the air and plunges his sword right into him and states, you. To which Foom is like, I am greatly pleased with what you have done. You would make a valuable ally if you join me. To which Grimlock chuckles and says, me serves someone like you, who kept his own people nearly starved, who kept innocent people in poor conditions. No, I'm going to take your throne and do a better job than any of you. To which Fang Foom says, you dare question me. You dare usurp me. I've killed all the heroes in my world. Take over and capture the gods of my world. You think you can beat me? I am Fang. Boom! Grimlock gives him a huge uppercut, sending him sprawling through his own throne. And this is where he simply states, you talk too much. I don't have time for your lectures. I don't have time for you to monologue about how great you are. None of those heroes in your universe compare to me. And I'll make you a deal. You win, you get to kill me. I win, you serve me. Deal? To which Foom says, ha! Deal, as if I lose in a physical confrontation. To which the two of them begin slugging each other over and over again. However, Fang Foom is completely overpowered here, or at least, overpowering Grimlock in the case here. And Grimlock simply laughs at it, with Swoop saying, oh god, he's gone crazy again. But at least he's having fun during this. Hopefully the others can kind of hurry up here. And this is where Foom says, you dare laugh in such a skirmish? Why? To which Grimlock simply gets up, as he pretty much, was crated into a wall at this point, and simply says, because it's fun. It reminds me of the pits. It reminds me of everything I ever loved about gladiatorial combat. See, Foom, you and I are going to get along just fine. To which Grimlock leaps up again and sends Fang Foom flying, cratering him into the wall. And they go back to just straight up slugging each other, blow for blow, tail for tail, bite for bite. Every blow matters. But this is where we pan over to Iron Man and Magic, both deep within the prison system, and they find exactly, and I mean exactly, what they're looking for. And it's the three dragon deities, Yamata no Orochi, Quetzalcoatl, and Jörmungandr. Both of them drained, exhausted, almost lifeless even. To which this is where Magic simply states, dang, he drained everything out of them just to get physical might. But he might not have everything. And to which Magic does approach them calmly and asks them if they can give their power to Grimlock. And this is where Jörmungandr, being the first to even have the strength to bellow against this, even states, why would they give anything to anyone else? They were used, mistreated, and their powers were stolen from them. They don't have anything left. To which Quetzalcoatl simply states that's a lie. We could give this user, someone noble as I can read their minds, our vast versatility, and maybe whatever is left of our physical strength. To which Yamato no Orochi doesn't really agree with this either. They're on their last legs, their last limbs. What's to stop them from restoring, their own world, their own universe? To which Quetzalcoatl convinces them that their universe simply died long ago. All they have right now is this, themselves and each other. Imagine giving their power to someone noble instead of having someone disdainful steal it. To which Yomagon is like, fine, but this had better work. I will give every ounce of my being just to this noble warrior. To which Magic simply states thank you and actually begins conducting the spell, hoping that it reaches him in time. Meanwhile, Grimlock is defeated at this point. He's tired, exhausted, but again, he laughs at this. He's like, oh, I've never had a fight this bad before, and it feels great. To which Foom looms over him, about to crush him even. Matter of fact, he's about to do what Megatron did to Jazz, and rip that man in half, telling him, it's a shame, really. Would have loved to have you as a great soldier. To which this is where Fin Fang Foom is about to rip him apart. But this is where a pain kind of hits him here, as if his power is depleting. And he's like, no, no, no. Into which Magic finishes the final form of the spell, transferring the last essence of Yermagander, Orochi, and Quetzalcoatl all into Grimlock, as 3 orbs simply form and phase right into him, giving Grimlock this immense power. He begins to almost glow in his rage itself, and when it's done, Grimlock looks at Foom and states, time for round 2. And Foom's like, what? No! And this is where Grimlock punches him so hard that he goes flying right into the air, and almost instantly as well. And this is where Grimlock shows off his new form, the Dragon King. And he chuckles at this, feeling stronger than what he was before, feeling faster than what he was before. And now he's going to use it to tear apart Fin Fang Foom. And this is where he does pretty much wait for Foom to simply just land in front of him. And this is where Swoop chimes in, reading everything he's gotten since his technically like a patch update. And is like, dude, you have so much more versatility than before. Hey, try this. To which Grimlock actually unleashes a fire wave attack from the likes of Yamato no Orochi. Foom tries to match this, but again, he's lost that power. It's all been transferred. Every ounce of it that was given to him and the last remnants of the god's powers were given to Grimlock here. And this is where he then utilizes Orochi's red lightning, actually having it hit for 99% accuracy. Then from Quetzalcoatl herself, he conjures up a wind, a hurricane, if you will, and uses this to batter Fin Fang Foom into the wall. And Grimlock simply states, you could always give up. You could always surrender. He is feeling quite merciful. To which Swoop says, maybe we gotta choke it out of him, To which Grimlock's like, yeah, very good idea. To which all Foom can see is Grimlock just leap at him, and then he clutches onto his face. With Foom like, what are you doing? However, this is where Grimlock's body begins to elongate, and then he coils, and utilizes the World Serpent shapeshifting ability to turn into the World Serpent himself, and states that it felt right to honor him by using this form. Plus, looks kind of badass, not gonna lie. To which Foom was like, no, I yield. I yield. Please, I yield. To which this is where Grimlock drops Fin Fang Foom, and this is where all the others actually regroup. Gambit, Rogue, Nightcrawler, Armor, and along with Magic, Magneto, Psylocke, Rocket, and Iron Man. And Grimlock, sporting his new form, states, this power feels unreal. I could turn into anything I want. And this is where Grimlock actually decides to play with it a little and turns into his own version of an ideal human form. To which Grimlock's like, Not bad. But again, it's not my usual flair. To which Magic's like, oh, I don't know. You do look quite ravishing in that state. Might take a crack at it myself. To which Grimlock's like, yeah, let me just turn back real quick. And this is where he simply states, it actually feels better, stronger. I don't feel Ultron's programming. To which Iron Man states that he does feel like there is some other sentience within you. But right now, what about him? To which Foom is on the ground, in his smaller state, mind you, broken and beaten. To which Grimlock simply states, oh, he'll spare him. To which Yells are looking at him like, what? To which Grimlock states, he's not about not being merciful. He just gives one chance at mercy. And if Foom wastes it, well, he'll end him right here and right now. To which, while Grimlock doesn't realize that, Foom is actually a bit more grateful than he originally let on. To which Iron Man then simply says, well, okay, we got this planet secure. I'll go ahead and make a hub teleporter so that everyone can get here. That way, we don't have to always use the training room. To which Grimlock says, yeah, sounds like a plan. But right now, oh crap. And this is where they actually see multiple dragons and the Akreli people actually gather in the arena, with the X-Men and, well, Iron Man and Rocket as well preparing for a fight. But this is where Grimlock actually notices something. The citizens and the dragons are calm, while some of them do look weakened because, again, Foom kind of was a bit greedy to himself. This is where they all simply walk towards him. And then everyone, one by one, begins to kneel, all bowing to their new king. To which Armor is like, well, you did say what you wanted to and what you set out to do, so all hail King Grimlock? To which the people actually chant this, and she's like, oh, okay, yep, I guess that's what we're doing here, huh? And this is where Grimlock's like, well, time to establish a new order to this planet. And this is where Grimlock actually gives his own very little speech and even states, ugh, he sounds like Optimus. Maybe this is how he actually feels all the time, giving these speeches. But as he does that, Magneto looks on in the background stating, perhaps he can be a machine that is worth trusting. But right now, we must reclaim Krakoa from Apocalypse. And that's where I'll leave it off here. You guys, please comment down below, like and subscribe, and share with your friends. And the next two parts will be discussing Optimus in New York, dealing with Dracula and gaining his own power-up. Peace.